So Mathilde, tell me a little bit about yourself as a coach.
Oh, hi, Sean. I help entrepreneurs build their vision and go for it by reconnecting them to their goals and getting rid of their limiting beliefs along the way that are blocking them from achieving it, basically.
So how did you get into that?
Oof, where do you want me to start?
Let's start at the beginning. Instead of talking about coaching, let's go to your past. What did you do before this and how did it lead you here?
Oh, that's... Okay, I know where I'm gonna start. I was an engineer. I was not really liking this, and I think I've done the studies for mom and dad rather than for myself. And at the end of it, I really felt empty and I didn't want to pursue that career. So I got a bit into a phase where I really needed to reconnect to what I want in life and what I want to do with my life. And that journey has been bumpy for sure, but it got me to become a photographer at first in South Korea. Yeah, I decided to reinvent myself at the opposite side of the world. So I'm from France, so it was like literally opposite side of the world. And that liberated me and reconnected me to what I wanted. After that, COVID hit, so I had to go back to France, and I truly wanted to become a digital nomad. So I launched a KDP business where I sell books on Amazon. That got me into like the entrepreneurship and the business side, which I loved. Also using my own creativity to create products. I've done that for, well, it's been 4 years. It's still going on, but I'm not really working on it anymore, but it's still passive income.
Yeah.
And that actually got me into being fully digital nomad for the past, let's say 6 years now. So that was the journey. And at some point, I remember vividly that moment. Halfway through, like about 3 years ago, I arrived in Bangkok and I felt empty inside. I had passive income. I was living the life. I was a digital nomad. I was traveling, still doing photography, which I loved, having not to worry about money, or at least not for my survival. And then I was like, really, am I gonna do this for the rest of my life? And the answer was no. So I really went internal at that time to just really, okay, now that I have passed the survival stage, what do I want to do with my life? And coaching like just hit me at that time. Like, yeah, it was obvious and I was not admitting it to myself for a long time, but it's something that I wanted to pursue for a long time already. I think for the past 5 or 6 years I already knew.
Yeah. Tell me more about leaving engineering. At that point in time, what was coming up inside? How did you know it was time to make a change?
Wow. I think I already knew at the start of my studies. I just didn't know what else. So it was 5 years, 5 long years of, I did enjoy it a bit, you know, it was challenging and I loved that. I loved also building a brain and building a way to think. Very challenging and I love challenges, so that I loved, but I really didn't like what I was learning and I didn't like where I was going with all of this. Like I had no purpose at all. Yeah. So at the end, actually, well, I stayed in the studies because there was a student at that time that told me, don't worry, it's worth it. I hung on to those words so vividly for 5 years, like it's worth it, it's worth it. And when I had the diploma, I was like, okay, apparently it's worth it. Yeah. But I don't see it. So it hit me like a wall. Like, why did I do all of this and why for? Like, I don't see it. So my whole body was saying no. And I could not fake it anymore. I could not fake it anymore. And it was really, really physical. Like, I wanted to throw up every time I had an interview. It was physical. So I knew a change needed to be made. I didn't know what else I wanted to pursue at that time, but I had to stop. It was like I was going against my true nature for sure. So yeah, that was intense.
Yeah.
Reliving this a little bit now, but yeah, not the best because completely lost for sure.
So many coaches end up in that lost phase, and I think that that's just a part of human nature, of going after something, being dissatisfied, and then we all have these wake-up calls, don't we? For me, I did 10 years in oil and gas. I went through it, I did the things, and towards the end of it, the way that I describe it to people was it felt like there was a phone ringing inside of the room that I just couldn't find to answer, but it was coming from the inside, and it was just relentless of, I know that I'm capable to keep doing what I am doing. I've built a 10-year career in this. I've risen through the ranks, and I am miserable. Like, this is just not how I want to spend my days. It's not how I want to spend my time. So tell me about reinventing yourself in Korea. What did that transition look like?
So yeah, it took me a bit of time when I stopped engineering, when I stopped and I accepted that I didn't want to be an engineer as a career, because I still think as an engineer also. I think it helps me also throughout coaching, and think you know what I mean. It's It doesn't quit us, but I'm very thankful for that. But when I accepted that, it took me around 2 years to figure out what I wanted. And when I had the first really call inside of me, I pursued it directly, because it was the first time like something lighted up in me, and it made no sense, absolutely no sense. Become a photographer in South Korea. I didn't know anyone in South Korea. I didn't know anything, but I just knew that it was far away and I would be able to hear myself.
Yeah.
And I needed that to reinvent myself, as you said. It was exactly my mission at that time. Actually, it's not really reinventing myself. I think it was finding finally myself, like at least parts of it. And so I woke up one morning with that, and 2 months after I was in South Korea. And I had to, yes, reinvent my identity for sure. I had to let go of the old one and really embody that identity of I am a photographer and I'm gonna make a living out of this, because that was also my challenge. I wanted to live out of photography. I wanted to make it a career. And after 3 months, it was the case. So I think just having nothing and everything to create, that really allowed me to have the space to just invent myself in a space that was very neutral. And I love that. That was, I think, one of my biggest identity shifts at that time, yeah.
When you have those major identity shifts, it's about letting go. As much as it is reinvention, it's about coming into yourself. The question that was burning in my mind as I was transitioning out of oil and gas, getting ready to move to Southeast Asia, was, who am I without all of this? And that expanded to identity, but it also was physical possessions. So I owned a 3-bedroom house, vehicles, and it was like, I am downsizing to a backpack. Who am I without all of this? Who am I without all of these pieces of my story? Who am I without all of these layers? So what did you find when you had the opportunity to step into this new version of yourself?
What did I find?
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. I found out that I was able to make quick changes in my life and pursue things quicker than what I thought I was able to before that. I found that I had a lot of courage, and also I found that I didn't want to live my life for other people, and that made me into a version of myself that is going to listen to what she wants, because before that I've never listened to what I wanted. I listened to what people were expecting of me, full on, and I thought that was the game life, you know, like you needed to correspond to the society and what people were expecting out of me. And so I think this is actually the biggest piece that I found is what do I want to do with my time, with my soul, with my life. I found out.
Building that connection is so powerful, and every person, the journey to building that looks a little bit different.
True.
So you are one of the only people that I know that was successful on Amazon KDP. I know so many people that have tried, especially being here in Southeast Asia. People are like, I'll just try anything to make money, to go pursue what I want. That was myself included. Before I left the US, before I decided to get into coaching, I had explored I don't know how many side businesses.
Really?
And KDP was one of them. And I was making money on it for a time until I designed a book specifically for a customer, and I put in a link to their outside shop, which, if you don't know, Amazon rules, banned for life. All of my designs were in the trash. I can never make another KDP account. But for me, at that moment, getting the email that I was banned for life was the strongest sense of relief I have felt in such a long time. Because I am a bit of a perfectionist, and perseverance is one of my #1 values. So I had just put this ironclad agreement in place of like, hey man, you've just got to get out of, if you guys are familiar with the valley of despair, you've got to get out of the valley of despair with your next idea. You have to make the next thing work. And it was an ironclad goal of like, I don't get to stop this until I get to $1,000 in income a month, period. And the only way out was by accidentally getting banned. However, that freed up the time, energy, and the opportunity for me to really open up and connect with myself further and go, what do I really want? I really want to help people make changes in their life. How am I going to do that? That took me a little while to figure out, traveling, exploring, as so many people do. And ultimately, you see me here today, so we know where it's led, right? Tell me a little bit about when you had the moment of, my needs are met, I have KDP, I have photography, I've got the things going, but I still feel emptiness. Where did that take you?
Yeah, that was, I think, the second biggest crisis, identity crisis, I think I had in my life. And I resonate a lot with what you said about being relieved when you open your mind to, okay, this could be a different path, and Amazon actually cleared the way out for you. For me, it was actually achieving that passive income that I wanted. Once the goal was met, I was like, this is where it hit me. I was like, okay, now what?
Now what?
Now what? Do I pursue another goal in KDP? And my whole body was saying no. I couldn't see myself pursuing this, but it was deeper than that. I couldn't see myself actually just making products for people that I'm not seeing. It was very digital. I didn't really had contact with my customers on Amazon. I had more contact with photography, but photography I think now has moved more to a passion for me and a side thing for me. It's not really where I want to have the more impact with my life. So I was like, okay, not photography as a professional thing that I want to pursue, not KDP, so what?
Right.
And actually, it was very painful because I was completely lost, and I was in the middle of Bangkok, and I was like, what are you complaining about? You're living the life. You have money, you have photography, and you're free. What are you complaining about? And I was lacking meaning. That was the thing that hit me. I was lacking complete meaning. I've achieved my survival state, so I was not worrying about money anymore. So now it was not about money, and it was really about, okay, what do I want to spend my life on, my time, my energy, my curiosity, my learning also.
Yeah.
And I got coached at that time. Directly a week in, I knew I needed help. So somebody had a coach to recommend, and she helped me get through all of that and get clarity out of all of this chapter. I think it lasted for 3 months. That's when I arrived in Chiang Mai, met a lot of my friends that are still my friends here, and that I'm settling now in Chiang Mai. So it's much more now a chapter of, okay, I found something that brings me meaning, joy, and money. I'm passionate about. I can see myself learn over and over, and infinite ways to learn around coaching and the human. I feel for the first time in my life that I've really connected a lot of parts of myself into this, and this is amazing. Yeah.
So you've had this time to explore, you've gone out, you've met your needs, and for so many people, especially people who've come from lack mindset, survival background, that didn't have money, it's when I get this money, I'll be happy. When I achieve this goal, I'll be happy. And many of us are met with, I have the money, what the hell do I do now? Just because you have the ability to meet your needs doesn't mean that you're actually taking the time to meet your needs, to do the things that fulfill you. So tell me about your coaching journey. Where did you start and how did that develop?
So my first journey with coaching was, I think I first got coached 8 years ago. Yes, 8 years ago. And I thought that was interesting, you know? Something sparked in me, but I didn't really listen to it, you know? And then the second coaching I was telling you about when I was in Bangkok and Chiang Mai, what she was doing for me, I knew that that was what I wanted to do for other people. So this was about 3 years ago, a bit over 3 years ago, and I pursued this directly. Like I've actually got just type how to be a coach on internet. I think we probably all done that as coaches, maybe, I don't know. And it started out from there, like what kind of coach do I want to be? So first of all, when I took like a life coaching course that got me the basics of conducting sessions. I've done it for free. Actually, I've done so many free sessions, and no, it's even worse than that. I've done free packages, like 3 months coach for free for 15 people before I got paid. 15 people.
Yeah.
Oh my God! But I had the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I couldn't see myself charging this. I didn't feel valuable enough. And after the 15, I was like, I'm gonna get coached again, but more on the business side of all of this. I need to learn how coaching business works. And I charge high ticket directly. Like there was no in between.
Yeah.
And when I'd done that, I gone through all of it. What is my avatar? What is the results I'm getting my clients? And I came out with helping women empower themselves and get more clarity on what they wanted out of life, which was kind of my own journey, you know?
Yeah.
It made sense, really. So I offered that for about a year, but attracted mainly employed people. And for the past few years, I've disconnected myself completely from that world. I've been an entrepreneur myself for a long time. Practically all my friends are entrepreneurs. And also, one of my biggest values is freedom.
Yeah.
So at some point when I was coaching, I really wanted to tell them, like, but just do a business, you know? What are you complaining about? You complain about your boss, just be your own boss, you know? Yeah. So at some point I just understood that I couldn't help. It's not that I cannot, it's that I'm a better coach for things that I do understand and connect with.
Yeah.
And that was not the case anymore. So I completely changed the packages and went through rebuild of my coaching business about a year and a half ago, and pursue entrepreneurs. Like that cleared everything that was a blockage for me out of coaching. I feel much more connected with my clients. I understand their problems, their needs, their values, all of that, and that I feel now it's much more fluid, and I feel like building really now.
We all go through phases where we're trying and exploring and trying and exploring, and sometimes it's more dramatic of you're trying photography in South Korea and then you're doing Amazon KDP, but building your coaching practice is about refining over and over again. And it is easy to relate to people that you have more in common with. Oftentimes we hear that our ideal client is who we were 3 to 5 years ago. So it makes sense that you started with women and helping them start their journeys. But now understanding that you are more broad than that and that you identify more strongly as an entrepreneur, that's something that's really important to you, having your number one value being freedom. Do you work a lot with entrepreneurs who are also digital nomads?
Oh, actually I don't. This is funny. Yeah, I thought I would. I thought I would attract people that has the same lifestyle as I do, but it hasn't been the case. It hasn't been the case. For my free coaches, yes, I've done digital nomads at that time, but not for like the entrepreneur side yet. I didn't. No, I don't think so. For paid clients, no, not yet. So that's interesting, no?
That is interesting.
Yeah, never like put the light on that yet. But no.
Let's talk about the level of accountability that you had to take with yourself as you noticed this shift of, I don't specifically want to work with women, I specifically want to work with entrepreneurs. What changes did you have to make in your marketing strategy and in your life?
Oh yeah, first of all, I really needed to get rid of that imposter syndrome around this. I cannot say it's completely gone, but I've managed it way better than before. So I had to go through all of that internally. I think I knew that it could be marketing, it could be everything, but until I had the internal shift of just really accepting that I can add value to an entrepreneur, and that I'm a good coach for them. I could have all the marketing in the world, it would not have worked. I would have sabotaged myself. Yeah, and that is basically also what I'm telling my clients now. So really it had to be an internal shift, and I had to rebuild confidence about the value that I can bring on, and having clients actually helped on that.
Right.
It's when you do the stuff that you get the confidence, you know. It's not magically appears in your head. You can have confidence in yourself globally, but the confidence to be a good coach you have to prove yourself those things little by little.
Right.
And so it was just a matter of repeating that I want this, okay, I'm gonna take the steps, and even though if it's uncomfortable at first and I probably don't feel confident, I'm gonna do it anyway so I can build confidence. Still going on. I think it's always building on that. As a marketing strategy, that got me into a phase where before that I still have my YouTube channel. It's my main acquisition channel. But before that I was talking about broad subjects, and I really had the feeling of I want to help everyone.
Yeah.
I had to get rid of that.
Yeah.
I had to get rid of that because I think it was not authentic also. Like, it's not my mission to help everyone. What was my mission? What was truly what I wanted to give as a value? And once it was clear that it was entrepreneurs, I knew I had to build my communication around their symptoms, their sufferings, what they are going through, and what they aspire for. And that got me into much more intentional communication that is still going on now, because I'm changing all of that. I think like I build a lot of broad subjects, so it brought me people that are employed, and now I have to realign all my content so I really can focus on entrepreneurs. So that is still going on. So it's still, it's still a bit of a struggle. But I've managed that part of me that wanted to help everyone.
Yeah.
I've let her die, basically, because I think it was a very insecure place that I was in at that time. And it was just that I didn't know what I wanted it to, who truly I wanted to help. So I would just, go and help everyone, which build a lot.
Yeah.
And I took in action, so I'm very proud of that, for sure. I didn't wait to have my ideal clients to put in action.
Yeah.
It's by putting in action that I had clarity, so I would not redo it all over again. We'll do the same.
Those exploration phases gain so much. You have to get out there and learn, and you learn by taking action. You can sit around and think the ideas in your head till you're blue in the face. Actually getting out, talking to people, seeing who you do and who you don't relate to. The coaching sessions that don't go great are more valuable than the coaching sessions that do, because then you have the opportunity to see the mismatch and the incongruency of this just isn't quite right. It's about learning to take those not as a rejection, but as an opportunity to lean into what is right for you as a person. When I first started coaching, one of my first ideas was time management, and I was helping busy people manage their time to make time for what they want, which sounds great, sweet, whatever. I was an oil and gas operations manager. I had a team of 53. I used to work 12-hour days plus drive time. I knew how to manage time down to the minute. But as a guy who had been backpacking Southeast Asia for nearly a year, who spent most of his time in cafes, I did not relate to busy people anymore. Although I had been that wasn't who I was. And although I still teach time management skills, people who work 15, 16 hours a day, I probably just don't even connect with, because we don't have the common ground. I don't have the desire to get involved. And they are attached to their busy lives, which is fine. I am now attached to my much less busy life, which is also fine. And it just creates a mismatch. So now you've been working with entrepreneurs for over a year?
Yeah, I think a year and a half now.
Okay. Tell me about some of the changes that you help them make in their lives.
Like, I've learned a lot of coaching tools, mostly around talking therapy, talking the problems through, having clarity, asking the right questions. Came to understand pretty recently that was not effective, because we deal a lot with the conscious level of the person and all the stories that the person likes to justify themselves with. So it's complicated to really go to the root of the causes. And when I say causes, it's, as I was saying in my statement, if you are not moving toward your vision fluidly, like going to buy a lot of bread, and you feel resistance to go to that, it's probably that there are blockages. There are psychological programs inside that are not aligned with the goal, and that is pulling you back. So you can talk about the goal, and you can talk about what is as much as you want. You can talk about the goal as much as you want. If you're going to sabotage yourself along the way, it's not going to work. So I've made it a mission to really understand more about the brain and how human really works, down to the neuroscience of all of this. And I'm coming up with better and more efficient tools for that right now, that has tremendous results right now. I'm so excited about this. And I feel like I can really be more effective as a coach now, so we can really have more clarity about what they want, what the client wants, what they want to build in life. And usually I work with people that feel deep down in their gut they're not where they want to be in life.
Yeah.
But they don't know why they're still stuck. It's just a feeling of I'm meant for more, I'm meant to do more, I'm meant to pursue more, and not in a lacking way, but just in like a connecting way to their heart. And it's a big frustration for them to just not know why they're not doing the things that they should do.
Yeah.
And so this is what I'm working on with them right now, is really reconnecting to what do you want as a person, and makes you really connect to what is the life that you want to create, and getting rid of all the programs that are actually not technically yours. Usually it's programs that comes from childhood, that comes from your society, from anything. But sometimes those programs are disaligned with the goal, and as much as you're going to pursue that goal, you need to reprogram them. And you can do it by action, for sure. Putting in action, regardless of your confidence, regardless of your comfort zone, regardless of all of that, is going to make you grow and identify as another person, which is going to change the brain and change the programs. But it was very frustrating for me to see that spending so much time, and now I have those tools that are helping me out along the way. So I feel really great about where I'm at right now with my program, and the results also. Wow. Got out of the station yesterday, and my client said, "You took out of my, like, that resistance I had for 10 years. I don't know if..." She looked me in the eye, like, through Zoom, saying, "You've liberated me from 10 years suffering right now. I don't know how to thank you." Like, I don't know, I feel really connected to that and to my purpose when they tell me that, for sure. Oof. Got a bit of goosebumps.
That's the dream, right? To do something that you're so passionate about and you're so connected to. And I really hear the engineering brain coming out in your methods and in your strategies. I think that goes to show that just because you're not doing something forever doesn't mean that you're not taking value from it. You're still using things from your engineering background. You're still using things from the other skills that you learned. You're just applying it in a new way. That's why there's no wasted path. When you try something that didn't work out for you, that doesn't mean that it won't work out for you. Even myself, I'm still using skills from Amazon KDP, from branding and messaging and marketing and design, all of it. Stuff that I don't use at all anymore, we get to really capitalize on. So tell me something specific in your approach that is so deeply you, a way that you have made your course yourself so that nobody could replicate it.
That is a very interesting question. Okay, first thing that popped up was vision. As I was telling you, I had to go through a lot of identity shifts in my life to pursue the goals that I wanted to have. And those didn't make sense, like going to South Korea, becoming a photographer. My logical brain was not on board at all. It was really my heart that was speaking. So I think this is one of my specialties, and what makes me a bit unique as a coach is that I can really truly understand what is in your heart. And as put in, like, yeah, there are things that are in your heart for a reason, and that is your true vision, the thing that you want to accomplish in your life. I see those as kind of a game. It doesn't mean that you will be fulfilled when you achieve those goals. It means that it's a playground where you can grow, and it's how you want to do life. So I think it's so meaningful to listen to that. Brings so much joy. It brings a lot of challenges, of course, but this is how I want to do my life, is pursuing all those things, but not as like, I'm going to be worthy when I have that. It's just, I'm going to grow going there. And I'm going to learn, and I'm going to explore life going there. Otherwise, I'm going to stay with all I know already, and that could be great. But at some point, if something is in my heart, that's kind of a sign that I should maybe try to put in actions and go for it, you know? And I love people that has like that drive, that ambition, and I want to help them do the same in their own life. For sure, I love that. I love that at all. Like it's beautiful.
I see how passionate that you get speaking about that and just how much joy it brings you.
Yeah, it does.
So if you have somebody out there that's afraid to enter into that space, that they're just stuck and they haven't gotten started yet, what would you tell them?
Accept what you want, first of all. Don't judge what you want. And accept it and be thankful for it. That is also what differentiates you from another person, is what you want.
Yeah.
We don't want all the same things, you know? So what you want is precious. Accept it, don't judge it, even if it's not making sense, even if it's not logical. And try to make space for it and make space, mental space to explore that in your life. What if I pursue this? Who do I need to become to pursue this? What do I need to let go to pursue this? Do I really want to pursue this also? But if it's really something that you want, then we have this life. Don't regret any action you're going to put towards that, because it's going to be out of self-love. I don't like people that shame people for wanting things.
Yeah.
I think it's part of our true nature and what makes us human. It's just the intention to pursue it that needs to be clear, and it needs to be connected to what you want and not what kind of happiness of self-worth you're going to have by having that. It needs to be very intentional with what you want to do with your own life and your own soul. And so I would say go for it, even though if it's scary, even though if it's not making sense at all. And there's Nietzsche that says, when the why is strong enough, you will always find a way. I think I don't know how he phrases that, but that's the point. So if you're really truly connected to what you want, you will always find a way. And that's the fun part. Like, yeah, find the way to go there. You're gonna grow so much.
Yeah. Even if you want to sell everything that you own and move into a backpack and go to Asia, you're allowed to do that.
Very true.
Mathilde, thanks so much for coming on and talking with me today. If people want to connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
Okay, so I have a YouTube channel, but it's just in French. I have an Instagram account also in French, but I do have an Instagram account in English that is mostly about my photography and my day-to-day life as a digital nomad. I'm not talking a lot about coaching on this, but still, if you want to connect, yeah, I can give you the links. I have international clients and I do coach in English also. So if something resonates, don't hesitate to communicate, because I do coach in English. I do most of my communication in French for sure, but I do have international clients. So yeah, we can start there.
Yeah.
And we can talk.
Those links will be in the comment section below.